members speaker.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. I got the nodding wrong. Sorry, guys. Everyone can sit. Honourable members, I acknowledge the Aboriginal peoples and Torres Strait Islander peoples of the state and their elders past, present and emerging. I also acknowledge the former members of this parliament who have participated and nourished the democratic institutions of this state. Finally, I acknowledge the people of this state, whether they have been born here or have chosen to make this state their home, and whom we represent to make laws and conduct other business for the peace, welfare and good government of this state. My name is Mr. Peter Russo. I'm currently seated in the position of the Speaker of the Queensland Parliament. As the inaugural Speaker of the Brisbane South Youth Parliament, I'm thrilled to welcome you to this special event where you get to step into the shoes of real members of Parliament. To my right, forming the government, I welcome students from Carbrook State School, Sinapini Christian College, Dutton Park State School, Green Slope State School, Islamic College of Brisbane, Manly West State School, Moreton Bay College, Polaris State School, St John Viennese, Sunnybank State School, Warrior View State School, Capalaba State School, Cooperoo State School, Hilliard State School, McGregor State School, Robinson State School, Somerville House, St Joachim Primary School. However, our Parliament is not just the government. It comprises the Premier and ministers, as well as Leader of the Opposition, shadow ministers, backbenchers, and members representing minor parties or independents. They all work together to debate ideas, listen to the public, and make laws for Queensland. As we engage in debates and speeches, it's critical to remember the value of respect. You can show support for your teammates or acknowledging a worthy point made by your opponents with a good, strong hear, hear. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge those members may also join us today, either to watch you speak, preside over proceedings from the chair, or chat with you at morning tea. I would also like to convey apologies from the Honourable Leanne Enoch, MP, Member for Algesta, Ms Corinne McMillan, MP, Member for Mansfield, and Mr James Martin, MP, Member for Stretton, who cannot be here today, but send their best wishes to the schools from their electorates to all students for a wonderful day. I now declare the 2025 Brisbane South Youth Parliament officially opened. I call the Youth Premier.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, everyone. My name is Divyam Sharma, and I'm honoured to be here today as the Youth Premier. I start off my speech by saying, Queensland is a vibrant, bold, and visionary state, rich in culture, united in community, and blessed with stunning landscapes. But even bold visions need fresh fire to keep blazing forward. It's in that space between vision and reality where I choose to stand. If given the opportunity to lead real change, I wouldn't hesitate. My mission stands on three unshakable pillars: the engine, the shield, and the spark. First up, youth empowerment. Young people aren't just the future, we're active contributors to the present. I would advocate for meaningful leadership opportunities where students are not only heard, but trusted to lead, make decisions, and shape their communities. Second, mental health. In a fast-paced world, emotional well-being must be treated as a priority and not a side note. I'd work to ensure that every school offers proper support systems, more counselors, superb mental health education, and safe spaces where students feel seen, supported, and understood. And third, environmental action. Queensland's natural beauty is iconic with the Great Barrier Reef's majestic coral and the Daintree Forest's divine landscape. Its future depends on the choices we make today. I would support initiatives that promote sustainable transport, eco-friendly schools, and youth-led environmental projects that empower students to protect the place we call home. These aren't just ideas, they're commitments, and I'm ready to turn them into action. In the end, true leadership isn't about standing in front, it's about listening with purpose, learning with humility, and acting with courage. Queensland doesn't need empty promises, it needs passion, perspective, and people willing to show up. That's where young leaders like us come in. Because when we raise our voices together, we don't just ask for change, we become it. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth leader for the opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I rise to share my vision of the future of education in Queensland, a vision that puts the holistic development of every student at forefront. As leader of the opposition, I believe it's time we reimagine the school week to better reflect the diverse needs and talents of our young people. I propose all Queensland schools adopt a model of 4 days dedicated to core curricular learning and 1 day each week devoted to extracurricular activities. This day would allow students to engage in sports, arts, music, science clubs, coding, leadership programs, and community service, fostering creativity, teamwork, and personal growth beyond the classroom. But Mr. Speaker, education is not only about preparing our children for exams, it's about preparing them for life. That's why I also propose every student from prep to year 12 plant and care for 1 tree each year during their schooling on land specifically dedicated for this purpose. This simple yet powerful initiative will teach us responsibility, patience, and environmental stewardship, while making a lasting impact on Queensland's natural landscape. Imagine a future where our children graduate not only with the knowledge and skills, but having contributed thousands of trees to their communities. Mr. Speaker, this is not just about changing timetables or planting trees. It's about nurturing potential, purpose, and pride. Let's build an education system that recognizes the whole student, not just the academic, but the artist, the athlete, the innovator, and the citizen, and the custodian of our land. Thank you.
I'd just like to say a few words, just like to thank you for allowing me to be part of this great event, and I hope you enjoy yourself, and make sure you'll make some lasting friendships today from other schools, from people that you don't normally hang around with. So enjoy, and thank you for allowing me to be part of this great event.
That's some of the best hearing I've ever heard in this place. Well done. I call the Youth Minister for Education.
Youth Minister for Education. Speaker, I move that this Youth Parliament supports the following motion to improve that the facilities and learning outcomes of Queensland primary schools. 1. That all students in Year 5 and 6 be taught how to prepare at least 5 simple and healthy meals for breakfast, lunch, or dinner as part of their regular school learning. 2. That every primary school have access to a 25-metre swimming pool and a 100-metre running track, either on school grounds or within a 5-minute walk to encourage fitness and outdoor activity. 3. that all students be provided with a sit-stand desk in classrooms to support healthy posture and focused learning throughout the day. 4, that primary schools move to a 4-day school week with school days finishing at 4:30 p.m. to allow more time for creative activities, sport, rest, and family. Speaker, I rise to support that all students should have a sit-stand desk in the classroom. Imagine a desk that moves with you. You can sit, draw, then stand up and do your maths. No need to ask to stretch or feel squished in your seat. A sit-stand desk lets you choose what feels best. First, standing helps keep our bodies healthy. It stops from our backs hurting and helps us feel less sleepy. Second, standing helps our brains wake up. If you ever feel fidgety after sitting too long, standing can help you focus again. And best of all, these desks can change height, so they fit everyone, no matter how tall or short you are. Let's make every classroom better with sit-stand desks, healthy bodies, focused minds, and happy students. What a great idea. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the Youth Shadow Minister for Education.
Thank you, Speaker. Students should not be at school after 3 p.m. and should not move to a 4-day week. It is scientifically proven that students' brains tend to be the sharpest and most focused in the morning. So why are we taking away one morning from the school week and adding 1 extra hour and a half in the afternoon? In my class, we always start the day by doing maths or assessment. This is because everybody has come to school rested from a good night's sleep and has just had breakfast. It is the most productive time of the day. I don't know about anybody else in here, but the classroom doesn't quite look the same at 2 p.m. Everyone is tired and they are hot from running on the oval and are ready to go home for a rest. Why force students to continue the school day if they are already tired? It is not a productive use of time and could lead to behaviour incidents at school. We all know exhausted students don't necessarily make good decisions. Another big question is, if students are at school for 4 days, who will look after them on their extra day off? What about parents who work full-time? Will they need to quit their jobs? I challenge the government to consider the consequences that this might have on the Queensland economy. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the Youth Member for Gilead.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise today to inform the House that every Queensland primary school must have access to a 25-metre swimming pool and a 100-metre running track, either on school grounds or within safe walking distance. Research shows that children need at least 60 minutes of physical activity every day to stay active and build healthy habits. But many don't reach this due to their schools lack the proper space. I draw attention to the fact that swimming is not just about sport, it's about safety. We live in a state where water is all around us. There are beaches, rivers, pools, and waterways everywhere. Learning to swim does save lives. And running, it's simple, makes our heart stronger, helps us stay fit, and gives us lots of energy for playing and doing things that we love. We say we care about young people's well-being, so let's back it up with proper facilities. Every primary school student deserves to feel safe, stay active, and have fun. I urge the House to support this motion for the future of our students. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the Youth Member for Oxley.
Thank you, Speaker. I strongly disagree that all students in Year 5 and 6 should be taught how to prepare at least 5 simple and healthy meals for breakfast, lunch or dinner as part of their regular school. That is a parent's job, not schools. The school's responsibility is to teach students their core subjects like math and English, which are essential to secure a good job in the future. Currently, 1 in 3 students struggle to meet the basic literacy and numeracy expectations. Will cooking healthy meals help with that? This curriculum is already overcrowded, teachers and students are exhausted, and there's simply no room for additional activities, especially ones which should be taught at home. If teachers were made to do this, they would need to squeeze in cooking on top of all the other subjects. This would reduce teachers' time to teach other subjects that students will use in their future careers. Why should we shift the home responsibility of cooking onto schools? Schools should concentrate on teaching core subjects and leave home responsibilities such as cooking to families at home. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Chester.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I rise to strongly support the idea that all Year 5 and 6 children must learn how to cook 5 simple and healthy meals as part of their regular school learning. Cooking is a basic life skill for both boys and girls. The art of basic cooking will allow individuals to learn a lot more than just making food. It will teach us how to be independent, so every time we want to have a meal, we don't need to depend on somebody to make it for us. It educates us regarding our health from a very young age and allows us to make good choices for our bodies. It emphasizes the fact that cooking is not a gender-based skill, rather one that every one of us should possess. It will promote a good food culture amongst young individuals, many of whom do not have a positive or good relationship with food, and this is what leads to eating disorders and childhood obesity. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize the fact that including such a simple and basic skill as part of our learning experience at school will make such a substantial difference throughout our lives as children and as well as adults in the future. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Tully.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I will cover why school should not be 4 days a week and end at 4:30. If you do the working out, if school was 4 days a week and ending at 4:30, school would take up the same amount of time, but longer each day for 4 days. Even though that sounds nice, it really isn't that great, and we still do the same amount of work. If school was 4 days a week and ending at 4:30, teachers would need a lot of work to prepare us students busy. That means teachers would need even more time to prepare the work for students. Another reason is because most children have after-school activities such as swimming, arts, and much more. And since school finished at 3 p.m., lots of classes start around 3:30. If school finished at 4:30, there would need to be a drastic change in time. Some children also have trouble focusing for long periods of time, and it would be difficult at school with that long. Thank you.
I call the youth member for Comet.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I rise to inform the House that every primary school should have access to a 23-metre swimming pool and a 100-metre running track, either on school grounds or within a 5-minute walk. Currently, lots of primary schools don't have access to swimming pools and running tracks, making it hard for young children to get more exercise at school. Having a new running track would benefit the students in many ways. For example, it would encourage fitness and more fun outside activities. On top of that, having a pool can provide students with valuable opportunities for physical activities and can teach young students water-safe education. Furthermore, swimming can build confidence in the water, so children can handle unexpected situations responsibly. By bringing in these new outdoor spaces, it would make it easier for the schools and for the students to stay safe while they are still young. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Ross and the youth opposition whip.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak against the government bill that promotes all students are to be provided with a sit-stand desk in classrooms to support healthy posture and focused learning throughout the day. Sit-stand desks are expensive, the average minimum being $250 per desk. How is the government going to fund this motion? Will taxes be raised? Are they going to cut funds to the police, to hospitals, or even schools? Will the government cut jobs? It has not been properly explained how this expensive bill will be funded. While sit-stand desks are designed to promote movement and reduce the negative effects of prolonged sitting, they can also lead to increased discomfort and fatigue if not used properly. Standing for extended periods can cause strain on the lower back, legs, and feet, leading to discomfort and potential musculoskeletal issues. These desks are not a priority, nor are they a necessity for student learning. Therefore, I propose not going ahead with this bill. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Mackenzie.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to inform the House of the need for all students in years 5 and 6 to be taught how to prepare at least 5 simple and healthy meals for breakfast, lunch, or dinner as part of their school learning. It is evident that students should be able to cook as early as 11 or 12 years old so that they are prepared for the life ahead of them. Research shows that most adults who only learnt to cook from high school onwards could not independently cook more than a few simple, healthy meals for the whole family. On the other hand, if students started learning how to cook earlier, they could succeed in providing nutritious meals for themselves and others. Therefore, if all Year 5 and 6 students are taught to prepare at least 5 simple and healthy meals for breakfast, lunch, or dinner as part of their school learning, this would undoubtedly help them to lead a successful and independent life once they leave home. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Rankin.
Thank you, Speaker. I strongly disagree with the idea of moving primary schools to a 4-day week with longer school days. Sure, it sounds fun at first, more time for sports and rest, but let's be real, finishing at 4:30 every day would be exhausting. Students already get tired by 3 p.m. Imagine sitting in a classroom for even longer. Would we really have energy left for creative or sport? Also, not all families can take care of kids on that extra day off. Some parents work full-time and can't just stay home on Fridays. That could leave kids bored or stuck in expensive care programs. And let's not forget, longer school days don't mean better learning. Our brains need breaks. Pushing kids to stay focused for more hours might actually make learning harder, not easier. So instead of cramming more into fewer days, let's keep school the way it is. Balanced, fair, and manageable for everyone. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Flinders.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak on the importance of teaching all Year 5 and 6 students how to prepare at least 5 simple and healthy meals for breakfast, lunch, or dinner as part of their regular school learning. House. Imagine a future where every student can confidently prepare a nutritious breakfast, a wholesome lunch, or a balanced dinner. We have the power to make that future a reality, starting in our classrooms. By teaching students how to cook healthy meals at school, we are not just showing them how to chop vegetables or follow a recipe. We are building lifelong habits that lead to strong bodies, clear minds, and smart choices. Cooking at school turns learning into living. When healthy meal preparations become a part of regular school learning, students gain real-life skills. They learn about nutrition, hygiene, measurement, and time management all in one lesson. And as we know, a healthy body supports a healthy brain. Better meals means better focus, better sleep, and better learning. Let's give students the tools to care for themselves, now and in the future. It's practical, it's powerful, and it's possible. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Nicholson.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak against the absolutely absurd motion that primary schools should move to a 4-day week and finish at 4:30. This change would have a huge impact on kids' lives. After-school activities like sports, music lessons, and clubs are something many students look forward to all week. If school finished later, we'd miss out on the things that make us happy and help us grow. And even if those activities still went ahead at a later time, it would cause major problems for families. Parents would have to rearrange their evenings, dinner would be rushed, and kids would be too tired to do their homework properly. I, for one, would miss my volleyball training completely, and that's something I love. School is important, but so are balance and well-being. A longer day would take away more than it gives. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Basalt.
Thank you, Speaker. It gives me great pleasure to inform the House on the need for Queensland primary schools to consist of only a 4-day week. In addition, each day shall go to 4:30 to allow time for exercise and outdoor activity on the fifth day. Research shows that the average Australian curriculum sport lesson ranges 40 to 60 minutes per week. That is simply not enough activity or movement to keep young bodies healthy. Despite many students exercising more frequently outside of school hours, the extra day allows an opportunity for students to further invest and reach outside their comfort zone. But the day's not over yet. The rest of the day can still be used productively to finish off homework assignments, prepare healthy meals for your family, and spend quality time with your loved ones. Finally, we can finish it off with a well-deserved rest, because all the students out there know that after a long school week, all you want to do on a Friday night is relax. So that is why primary schools should condense the school week into a 4-day week. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In relation to that primary schools moved to a 4-day school week with school days finishing at 4:30 p.m. to allow more time for creative activities, sports, rest, and family, I do not support this motion because when primary schools move to a 4-day school week, that means that they only miss out a day of learning at school, which is very important for some students. In school, you can learn how to read, how to be a good person, and how to concentrate. And also, some students have lessons right after school and they will miss the lesson because they have to stay at school until 4:30 p.m., which means that if they have an English class or a math class or any of the school subjects, it means that they only miss out learning. So I do not support this motion that makes us miss out the learning. Thank you.
I call the youth member for Bowley.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak on the need that primary schools move to a 4-day school week with school days finished at 4:30 p.m. to allow more time for creative activities, sport, rest, and family. This will allow more time for sporting opportunities, team or not. The well-being of students is especially important too. Yes, education is important, but what about making other people's lives easier as well? By bringing schools to a 4-day school week, it will allow students to have open minds and a more positive approach to learning. What we will represent here is a great example of a work-life balance. Not only will this help students, but it will help teachers and everyone will get to spend more time doing things they enjoy. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Norman.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak against the motion of teaching all students in Year 5 and 6 to prepare simple and healthy meals. Whilst this idea is commendable, I must argue against making it a compulsory part of their school curriculum. Firstly, the Australian curriculum is already full and varied, and not every student has the same interest or learning styles. Forcing all students into cooking classes may detract from valuable time they could spend exploring subjects that ignite their passion, whether it be STEM, the arts, or physical education. We risk stopping their creativity and curiosity by mandating a one-size-fits-all approach to learning. Secondly, while cooking is an important life skill, it can be very widely based on family circumstances. Not every student has access to a kitchen at school or the necessary ingredients at home. This could inadvertently create feelings of frustration among those less fortunate. Moreover, we should also consider the potential safety issues involved in teaching children how to cook. Kitchens can be hazardous spaces, and not all schools are adequately equipped to handle the supervision necessary to ensure students' cooking activities. In conclusion, while important cooking skills is undoubtedly important, it is essential to balance this with students' varied interests and backgrounds and safety concerns. Let's encourage a holistic approach to the education that respects individual choice. Thank you, Speaker.
I think I'm getting better hears out of the opposition than the government side. I don't know. I call the youth member for Don and the youth government whip.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I rise to speak on the need that primary schools should move to a 4-day school week with school days finishing at 4:30 p.m. to allow more time for creative activities, sport, rest, and family. Today, children are very busy with all sorts of things to do, even on weekends. But with an extra day off, it helps everyone recharge. Not only that, but it also leads to more efficient learning during school days, and everyone has more time for hobbies, rest, and socialization. Take me, for example. All my days are filled up with school and extracurricular trainings, meaning I have to wake up early and finish late. But with a free day that's not as busy as weekends, I get time to rest and enjoy. Therefore, giving primary schools a 4-day week makes them healthy and happy. Thank you, Speaker.
Better. That's better. Now I get the youth member for Ward.
Thank you, Speaker. I strongly disagree with the motion that primary schools move to a 4-day school week. Although having a 4-day school week sounds great, schools would have to adjust the curriculum to fit the longer days. Teachers already struggle to fit in everything that they need to in a 6-hour day. Imagine having to learn for another hour and 30 minutes each day when you're already exhausted. That would make it really hard to focus. There is no point in teaching tired kids when it's hard enough for kids to concentrate towards the end of existing school hours. Another reason why the motion should not be considered is that parents who work would have to take an extra day off each and every week to stay at home with their child. This would affect parents' employability and result in a loss of income. Is that what we need in this current economic climate? No. Leave the school hours alone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I call the youth member for Bakara.
Thank you, Speaker. I draw the attention of the House to a matter I believe in: cooking. Being able to cook, especially from a young age, gives you a significant advantage in life, one that everyone should have. Nutrition is the foundation of our health. It benefits our immune system, maintains our muscle strength, and helps everyone concentrate in class. Unsatisfactory nutrition skills may lead to malnutrition or obesity, which pose imminent health risks. It is unacceptable that in 2025, we still aren't up to date with prevailing health standards and aren't even trying to solve this problem that demands immediate attention. Some may say it is a waste of time, but learning to cook just 5 sustainable, healthy recipes in class benefits the health and well-being of all people. This is why I prompt the Council to stand up to this predicament for the safety of this community and the state of which I live in. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Pascoe.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise today to tell the House on why I believe that state schools should not have to build a 25-metre swimming pool or 100-metre running track. In these times of inflation, a single pool can cost up to $50,000 to build, not to mention over $1,500 a year just to heat and maintain it. Right now, more than 83% of Queensland schools do not have a pool. So I ask you, should we really spend millions of dollars on pools that might only be used for 2 terms a year? Wouldn't it make more sense to spend that money on things that we actually need, like better classroom resources, more teachers and support staff, or even updated technology for learning? Let's be smart with our choices. Let's invest in what helps students every day, not just once in a while. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Inesley.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I rise to speak on the need for all grade 5 and 6 students to be taught to prepare at least 5 simple and healthy meals for lunch as part of their daily learning. It is scientifically proven that nutritious lunches and snacks help provide the necessary energy children require to concentrate, learn, and play throughout the day. By preparing their own lunches, it teaches students healthy eating habits and, more importantly, promotes independence and responsibility. In addition, the volume of food a child requires can vary day to day depending on their before or after school activities. By giving children the freedom to decide and plan how much goes into their lunch, there will obviously be less waste. This program would undoubtedly help them to understand options for healthier lunches, as they can include a variety of food from each of the food groups. Therefore, it is evident that learning to plan and prepare healthy meals is a vital life skill that can be taught at an early age while children are still in primary school. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Dawson.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to inform the House about the lack of sporting facilities in primary schools across Australia. I believe that all primary schools must have access to a 25-metre swimming pool and a 100-metre running track on school grounds or within 5 minutes walking distance. Studies have shown that to maintain a healthy mindset, students need 60 minutes of physical activity per day. These infrastructures are not only a sufficient and fun way to keep fitness consistent, but also teach valuable life lessons that could save lives. Every year, around 70 children across Australia drown in our pools and oceans. This is unacceptable. For a country who is surrounded by water, it is crucial that we learn these skills to keep young children safe. These tragic statistics is only one reason that we teach the young and upcoming generations on how to keep safe in the water, and by getting the sporting resources such as a 25-metre swimming pool and a 100-metre running track will ensure that all students in Australia have a safe, healthy and happy well-being. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Archer.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, today I rise to speak on the proposal for all children to have sit-to-stand desks in schools. Research shows that sit-to-stand desks encourage better posture throughout the day and enable improved, focused learning. Furthermore, a sit-to-stand desk will help with fidgeting and enhance concentration whilst keeping the blood pumping. We know the risks of a sedentary lifestyle are poor cardiovascular health, slowed cognitive development, and mental health impacts such as anxiety and depression. Despite this, studies show that 11 to 12-year-old children spend an average of 11 hours sitting down per day. Therefore, providing sit-to-stand desks would give a much-needed opportunity for children to move freely whilst learning. For these reasons, I ask you to support this proposal. Thank you, Speaker.
Is there anyone on the speaking list that I haven't called? The question is that the motion moved by the Youth Minister for Education be agreed to. Those that have opinion say aye. Aye. Those against no. No. I think the ayes have it. Division's been called. Ring the bells. Close the bars. There's no escape now. The question is that the motion be agreed to for which a division has been called. Will the Youth Government Whip please advise what the government votes are for the ayes or noes?
Could you repeat that?
Will the Youth Government Whip please advise what the government votes are for the ayes or noes?
3. What? 53.
Thank you. Will the Youth Opposition Whip advise what the opposition votes are for the ayes or noes?
39 noes, Speaker.
Thank you. The result of the division is ayes 53, noes 39. The division is resolved in the affirmative. Before the next speaker comes up, I just wanted to say thank you very much for participating today. That was an excellent debate. A lot of young people tell me that they want to be an influencer when they grow up. If you really want to be an influencer, this is the place to be, right here in Parliament. So I hope this has inspired some interest in Parliament, and I hope a lot of you come back here one day and run the joint. Thank you very much.
It is now time for private members' statements. I call the youth member for Fitzroy.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak on the jurisdiction in Queensland. When it comes to managing our communities and services, Queensland's jurisdiction plays a role in ensuring things run smoothly for everyone. Queensland's jurisdiction lets local councils manage services like rubbish collection, making life easier for residents. It also allows Queensland's police to help focus on the safety of the community, local laws, and keep neighbourhoods peaceful and secure. However, Queensland's jurisdiction also has its downsides. One downside is that state jurisdiction ends at the borders. If a crime crosses into another state, the legal process can slow down. Another issue are limited resources in rural areas and controlled areas. While Queensland manages its own hospitals, schools, and emergency services, however, these areas often miss out on the attention and funding given to big cities. Queensland's jurisdiction has both strengths and weaknesses. For a safer, fairer future, we must lead the way in stronger cooperation between states. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the member for Wilson.
Madam Speaker, I rise to speak about Victoria Park, or Barrambin as it's known in the Turrbal language. It is Brisbane's biggest park and is not the right place for building a stadium. The proposed 60,000-seat stadium for the Brisbane Olympic Games would ruin the landscape, replacing green oxygen-producing trees with stadium noise. Stadiums don't age gracefully. They require constant maintenance, upgrades and traffic management, all of which are cost to the taxpayer. Victoria Park sits above the inner city bypass and near major train station. While this sounds convenient, it also means thousands of cars, buses and people flooding the area during events. The peaceful parkland would become an area of congestion, noise and pollution. The Victoria Park Stadium is estimated to cost $3.4 billion. That money could go towards schools, hospitals, public transport or upgrading existing venues like the Gabba and Suncorp Stadium. Why spend billions of dollars on a new stadium when we already have two functional facilities? Just metres from Victoria Park sits the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, one of Queensland's largest and busiest medical facilities. Crowds, traffic surges and construction would threaten critical access routes. Entertainment should never come at the cost of healthcare. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Mooney.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak on mental health and youth. This topic is important to me because I struggle myself with mental health. Did you know that 1 in 5 young Australians are affected by some form of mental health disorders? Depression and anxiety in teens is rising due to pressure, social media, bullying and cyberbullying. That is why I believe it is important that the Australian government should continue to provide money for resources that people can access for free. I'm also hoping to increase awareness around how to recognise symptoms, but also how and when to get help. Through my own journey, I realised that speaking to someone or a professional can help support you and give you the strategies to help you with managing your mental health. I learned that it is okay to not be okay and that seeking help is not a bad thing. I encourage anyone who struggles to speak up and find the help they need because it can make a difference. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Stewarts.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak alone. In the last 5 years alone, Brisbane's population has grown over by 244,000 people. That's nearly 10% more Queenslanders needing healthcare. Our hospitals are struggling to keep pace. Emergency rooms are overcrowded, and many patients now wait over 8 hours for urgent treatment. Speaker, every Queenslander deserves quick, safe, and reliable medical care. We must act immediately, increase hospital capacity, add more beds, and ensure we have enough doctors and nurses available to help patients without delay. Invest in healthcare now will protect our communities and save lives. Together, let's make Queensland a place where nobody faces dangerously long waits for emergency care. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Calliope.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I draw the attention of the House to our communities facing a problem, inflation. As a representative of Calliope, the prices of general foods have gone up and rarely get lower ever since the cost of living has increased. Comparing the prices of all products to the original cost a few years ago, it has gone up by 20% since 2020. According to surveys and research, almost 700,000 Queenslanders have been going through food insecurity in the last 12 months due to the prices of meals increasing. The majority of us see that if prices keep going up, people won't be able to afford simple groceries. I highly recommend us to address this situation to prevent further issues revolving around inflation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you. I call the youth member for Sutton.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to inform the House that koalas in Queensland, especially in the Redlands, are at serious risk of extinction, and one of the biggest reasons is habitat destruction. Right now, a whitewater centre is being built at Birkdale for the 2032 Olympics. This is just one of many projects destroying koala habitat. Every tree cleared and every patch of bushland removed takes away the food, shelter, and safety these animals need to survive. If we don't act, these innocent, vulnerable creatures could vanish from our local area forever. So what can we do? Stop clearing known koala habitats for developments. Create protected corridors so koalas can move safely between bushland. Plant more koala-friendly trees like eucalyptus in urban areas, and educate our communities about how to protect koalas in their own backyards. Koalas can't speak for themselves, but we can speak for them. Let's protect our wildlife before it's too late. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Murray.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm addressing you today to upfront the issue that there is a teacher shortage in Queensland. There is a constant demand for more teachers, and substitutes are scarce in numbers. Nonetheless, there is a simple solution to the steadily growing issue. Currently, Queensland employs 119,000 teachers, which may seem like a large amount, but Victoria employs over 307,000, double the amount of Queensland. In 2025, Queensland has a 3.5% raise, whereas Victoria will raise by 35% along with improved working conditions and longer holidays. There is a clear difference between Queensland and Victoria in both employment and pay. In order to save the future generations, we must raise teachers' pay. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Watson.
Thank you, Speaker. Today I want to speak for kids like me, kids who dream big, work hard, and just need a fair chance. I play basketball and it's made a huge difference in my life. It keeps me healthy, builds my confidence, and has given me friends who feel like family. Sport teaches more than skills on the court. It teaches teamwork, leadership, and resilience.
but not every child gets the chance to play. For many families, uniforms, fees, and gear are just too expensive. That's why I'm thankful for the programs like the $200 playground, Play On voucher, the Emerging Athlete Pathway grants, and the new Games On program to improve local sport facilities for Brisbane 2032. These programs help kids get involved and stay active, but we need more. More grants, more support, and more opportunities. Every child, no matter their background, deserves to be active, included, and proud. Because when we give kids the chance to play, we're not just building a stronger individuals, we're building a stronger, fairer clan. Let's give every kid a chance to play, to grow, and to shine. Thank you, Speaker.
I call the youth member for Bloomfield.
I want to speak about homelessness and the rising cost of living, issues affecting far too many Australians. In my town, I see people sleeping on the streets without homes, warm beds, or clean clothes. It's heartbreaking, and I wonder why this happens in such a wealthy country. Many of these people once had homes and jobs, but lost them due to job loss, unsafe conditions, or rising costs. Families are also struggling. Rent, groceries, electricity, and school supplies cost more than ever. Some parents work very hard but still can't afford food or rent. Kids miss out on birthdays, holidays, and school camps. Not just fun, but moments that bring happiness and belonging. We can help the government can build more affordable housing and support programs like breakfast clubs and food banks. No child to go hungry or feel excluded. Let's listen to those who are struggling. Listening leads to caring, and caring leads to action. Young people have powerful voices. Together we can build communities where everyone feels safe, supported, and valued. Thank you. I forgot that.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Pike.
Speaker, I rise to inform the House of the youth crime that occurs in Brisbane. Youth crime means when young people, like teenagers, do things that are against the law. This can include stealing, vandalism, bullying, or fighting. Youth crime is a problem because it can hurt people and make our community unsafe. In the 2023 to 2024 financial year, Queensland recorded 46,130 proven offences committed by individuals under 18, marking a 12% increase from the previous year. The average number of offences per young person was 14.1. There are reasons why people get involved in crime. Sometimes they feel bored. Other times they might have problems at home or school and feel angry. Some teens may also feel lonely or that they don't belong. To solve youth crime, we need to help young people in diverse ways. First, Brisbane should have more places where teenagers can go play sports, do arts, or hang out. When people have fun and positive activities, they are less likely to get into trouble. Secondly, schools should teach children about how to make good choices. Schools should have counsellors who listen to students and help them when they have issues. My third point, families and adults need to support young people. When children have people who care about them, they feel happier and make better decisions. Adults should talk with young people and help them when they feel sad and angry. Lastly, communities can create places that teach minors important skills and help them find jobs. When juveniles have goals and feel supported, they are less likely to do dreadful things. If we all work together, schools, families, and communities, we can reduce youth crime and make Brisbane a safer place for everyone. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Inaugural.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning to everyone. Today I rise to speak about an issue that has been a problem in our society: homelessness. Every day we see people sitting on the streets struggling to survive, often with nothing but the hope of a few coins for a simple meal. The life of a homeless is a difficult life, and it is a problem we as a government can fix. First, let's talk about food. No one should have to search through bins to feed themselves, but unfortunately that is the case. It's time the government starts meal distribution to those in need. By doing this, we can ensure that no one is left scavenging for food in bins, and we can give people enough essentials to live and survive a good life. Just like we said previously, healthy food is the foundation of a healthy life. Secondly, we must make it mandatory for every citizen to donate charity once a year. Some of it will go directly to building shelters for the homeless and helping them find jobs. This will give the homeless an opportunity to enjoy and live a better life. Lastly, let's not forget our most urgent portion of homelessness: pregnant women, children, and the elderly. Imagine pregnant women sitting on the curb with no resources to help her. While hospitals may be free, raising a child is not. We can make Queensland a better place. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Nogoa.
Thank you, Speaker. Involving students in school policy and curriculum decisions is crucial for creating an inclusive education environment. When students have a voice, they can share their unique perspectives, leading to a more relevant and engaging learning experience. This participation empowers them, fostering ownership and commitment to their education. Allowing students to participate in school governance helps bridge the gap between administration and the human body, fostering collaboration and mutual respect. When students feel their opinions matter, they're more likely to engage positively with the school community. By participating in discussions about rules and curriculum, students contribute to an environment that reflects the diverse voices within the school. Involving students in decision-making processes also prepares them for future civic engagement and leadership roles. Through first-hand experience in policy formulation, students develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills essential today. As they navigate complex discussions and collaborate with various stakeholders, they're better equipped to contribute meaningfully to their communities. Thank you.
I call the youth member for McDonald.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I rise to speak on why the voting age should be raised to 21. The main reason is lack of experience. Now, imagine this: being asked at 18 years of age to make a decision that could change the entire nation when you've only just finished high school. You might have studied politics in the classroom, but that's very different from actual living an independent adult who understands how government policies truly affect daily life. By 21, things are different. Most people have more time to work, manage their own finances, and understand the issues of healthcare, jobs, and taxes. They've gained real-world experience, which helps them make smarter, more responsible choices when voting. If we truly want fair and informed elections, it's better to have voters who understand the impact of their decisions, not just on themselves, but on the entire nation. Raising the voting age to 21 gives young adults the time they need to grow, learn, and prepare to take on serious responsibility. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Stanley.
Thank you, Speaker. Today I stand not just as a young person, but a voice for a generation that is growing up under the weight of an increasingly unaffordable life. Let's talk about the cost of living, because for us, it's not just a line in a budget. It's the background noise to every decision we make. We're not asking for luxuries. We're asking for the basics: affordable housing, fair pay, accessible education, and real support for our well-being. These basics should be carefully considered when considered in the next budget drawing, so that our future budget can be well balanced with functionality and fairness. Young people are not the problem. We are the potential, but we can't build a future while drowning in debt, insecure work, and anxiety. The cost of living should not be the cost of our future. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Horton.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak on the matter of free healthcare for Queenslanders. Imagine being really sick or hurt, but not being able to see a doctor because your family can't afford it. Everyone deserves the right to be healthy, no matter how much money they have. That's why I believe Queensland should have better free healthcare for everyone. Right now, some people have to wait a long time for help, or they skip going to the doctor because they can't pay for it. This means people who are already struggling can deteriorate. Health is not a luxury, it's a basic human right. If we make healthcare more free and fair, we can help families stay strong, kids stay in school, and adults keep working. It helps everyone in the community. So let's speak up and make sure no one is left behind just because they can't afford to get well. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Yarraman.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to inform the House on the pressing issue of the absence of helmets on Lime scooters. Lime scooters were first made in January 2017 by Nutrien Holdings. In recent months, it has come to my attention that people do not have access or choose not to use helmets. A case study conducted on Lime scooters showcased that the company was breaching Australian consumer law by misleading customers about the safety of their products and not addressing safety issues. So many people have been injured or involved in fatal collisions. There was even a case where a woman was collided into by a Lime scooter user who was not wearing the protection. Both were injured. Australian Broadcasting Corporations reported in 2019 that in only 2 months in Brisbane, 80 Lime scooter riders were injured. ABC also discovered in 2021 that more than 600 people have visited a hospital after incidents with hired scooters. I propose that the speed limit should be reduced on all scooters and scooters should not be available for use if there is not a helmet attached. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Diamantina and youth deputy government whip.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I move that students should be provided with sit-stand desks in classrooms to support healthy posture and focused learning throughout the day, improving the facilities and focused learning of Queensland primary schools. Having a sit-stand desk at school can support healthy posture. When sitting down for extended periods of time, the body produces strain on the neck, back, and shoulders. With a sit-stand desk, it would engage muscles and reduce the strain on those body parts to increase the efficiency of studying exponentially. Furthermore, sit-stand desks can also support focused learning. A desk with a standing function promotes better blood circulation to the brain, providing it with more oxygen and nutrients. This amount of oxygen and nutrients enhances alertness, clarity, and cognitive thinking, making it easier to focus. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Endeavour.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, everyone. I am concerned about the rise of youth crime, and I believe that we can do more to support young people before they make poor choices. Many young people get into trouble because they feel bored, isolated, or lack access to positive programs. I believe the government can help by funding more after-school programs such as sport, music, dance, art, and clubs where kids can feel safe, learn skills, and build confidence. Sports teaches teamwork, discipline, while creative programs to help kids express emotions in healthy ways. After-school clubs can create a sense of belonging and purpose, making it less likely for kids to turn to crime. I also think that schools and communities need more staff like counsellors, mentors, and youth crime workers who can help children dealing with personal challenges
Sometimes all a person needs is someone who will listen. Finally, involve young people in discussions about community programs would make them feel valued and heard. Please consider investing in youth crime workers to give kids all a safe and positive future. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Albert.
Thank you, Speaker. Today I want to share with the House the urgent need to scrap the idea of building an Olympic stadium at Victoria Park before we make one of the biggest blunders potentially in the history of our great state. Firstly, Victoria Park is one of the last green spaces in the whole of Brisbane. Building a stadium in the park would have severe detrimental impacts on the environment, wildlife and population. Slaughtering all of the pure green space would slash the biodiversity in the area, demolishing the homes of 60 species of birds and native wildlife. Madam Speaker, do we really want that blood in our hands? Also, on a personal note, I'll be attending Gregory Terrace next year, and to be quite honest, the traffic going in of a morning would drive my parents insane. So, therefore, my fellow members, let's put a stop to this foolish proposition. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Maryvale.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm the youth member for Maryvale, and today I would like to share with the House on why public transport should be free. We get that it's already like 50 cents, but imagine if it was nothing. People would stop using cars, which means less carbon monoxide and more fresh air. It would also cost them less money due to gas and registration fees. Having less cars also means no more accidents and makes roads much safer. Not only do we think we should add more stops not only do we think we should make public transport free, but we should add more stops since you would have to walk more to get to your destination instead of just getting dropped off right there. This would also come in handy for old or disabled people since they probably can't walk that long because of obvious reasons. Making public transportation free will make future generations to come and our lives much easier. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. I call the youth member for Herbert.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to acknowledge a problem young adults are facing, and that is how hard it is for first home buyers to get a house in Queensland. My brother has 3 children and has been trying to buy his first home for his family, but the prices are just too high. He's working hard, saving money, but it's still not enough. Now he has to keep living with family because he can't afford a place of his own. It's not fair that people who want to start their life and be independent can't just because houses cost too much. How are young people meant to build a future if they can't even buy a small house? I think the government needs to step in and make it easier for first home buyers. Lower prices, more support, or special programs could help. Everyone deserves a chance to have a home they can afford. Let's make that happen. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Is there anyone on the speaking list that I have not called? I just wanted to thank you for your speeches this morning. It's been a great pleasure to listen to them. You've raised all the important issues that are affecting our community at the moment: cost of living, housing and homelessness, health, education, the environment and community safety. I'd also like to congratulate you on how you've conducted yourselves in this chamber this morning, and some of our current members of Parliament would have a lot to learn from you. Thank you. The House will now adjourn for morning tea.